What is up, homies? Happy Thursday. Welcome back to episode number 3. Today, I want to talk about how it all started. How did we get to this point in life? I think the main purpose of this whole entire channel in the long term is all about process. It's not about result. And I want to help people declutter all the noise and all the information that we're given and access new ways of living. So at 23, I got a job in tech sales, and what I realized that made me really start being interested in money outside of knowing that money is used to buy groceries and money is used to pay your rent was the fact that I finally, for the first time in my life, had an income gap. As in, the income I was making was here, and my lifestyle of what made me happy was all the way down here. And so I acknowledged that there was a gap, this big space. And I told myself, I was like, okay, I have all of this here, and this is what my life costs. What do I do with all this? And so I started asking my coworkers at work who are older than me. And then one day out of nowhere, our team says, hey, the VP of Merrill Lynch is coming into the office and he's hosting a free seminar on retirement. Again, there was no long-term vision at this point. I was just like, okay, that's cool. But something in my intuition said to sign up. So I signed up. A week later, I go to the part of the office where the seminar was, and I was the youngest person there. I sit in and I listened to the meeting. It was a lot of graphs, talked about Albert Einstein's eighth wonder of the world being compound interest, which I now agree with. And at the end of that meeting, there was a sign-up sheet. And the sign-up sheet was for a one-on-one with the VP. And I was like, why not? I'll sign up for this and just show up. So I booked the time. Later in that day, I show up and I sit down with this homie and I'm just like, hey, I'm 23. I have this gap that I've realized. I don't want to buy a house. I don't have any kids. I don't want to have any big investments like right now in life. I was just very like non-committal. I don't want to have my name on any contracts because I still felt like I was too young to understand why I was committing my life to something. And so I told him my story. I said, basically, what do I do with all of this? What do I do with this income gap, but also information gap? I admitted I was a noob. I was a beginner. I was a beginner at finance the same way I'm a beginner at sharing my story on YouTube. Like, this is all new to me. Side tangent, accepting that you're a beginner and allowing yourself to fail forwards and inviting challenges is a great way for you to start learning anything, to get you closer to whatever the result is that you want, because it's a part of the process. Failure, being a noob, making mistakes, it's all part of the process. So from that side tangent, we come back to this meeting. He says, hey, you're in a really good spot. You know, you're the youngest person here. You're in a pretty unique situation because most people don't say what you're saying. So what I would do is find a financial advisor. They're free. And ask them about retirement accounts and non-retirement accounts. Didn't know what that meant. All I knew was there was a 401k, didn't know what matching was or anything like that. So I do that. That same week, I call a brokerage. I say, hey, I'm a noob. I need help. Can we set up a call? And we set up a call, and it was with just a regular customer service person, but I actually took notes, and I still have the notes from our call all the way back in 2020. Her name is Luann, so shout out to Luann if you ever see this. Super helpful. We talked for an hour, and I was just free to ask questions that I was curious about. I don't remember exactly what the questions were, but I had a lot of them because there was such a big gap in information and such a lack of knowledge, side tangent, such a lack of knowledge taught to us. Like when you take a finance class in college, they don't teach you about how to do your own finances. They teach you how to do a corporate company's finance. And so I had no idea like what finances were other than the little bit of information, profit and loss statements, stuff that again, great stuff, but not relevant to my life. So coming back from that tangent, we talked for an hour. I get really inspired and I'm like, oh, this is really interesting to my brain. I'm actually more curious than I was before. And again, I'm not a financial advisor, disclaimer, but I learned about retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, traditional versus Roth. And then I learned about non-retirement accounts. So versus non-retirement accounts and how that works as well. And then there's a whole world of finance that we are not gonna go into on this. But the bottom line is curiosity allowed me to invite opportunities to learn how to fill the gap of information. And month after month after month, eventually year after year after year, all that knowledge accumulated similarly to exponential compound interest of my accounts. My knowledge of finance exponentially increased as well. And there was never a goal, or again, there was never the result I was chasing of how do I retire early? How do I make a lot of money fast? How do I become the best at finance? No, it was simply a natural curiosity that I carried into this whole entire world of finance. And eventually I got to a point where I said, okay, pause. I don't want to do anything hands-on with this. I told them, I was like, hey, I don't want to do anything hands-on with this. I don't care about the market going up and down. I don't care about the GameStop stock or the newest Bitcoin or the Dogecoin. I don't care about that. I'm really happy with what I have now. And tying that all back into like the budget, the lower, like, hey, my lifestyle is only this much money and I have this much. Discovering what makes you happy, another side tangent. Discovering what makes you happy, like intrinsically happy, is the most important part, I believe, that we have in life. A lot of us, if you ask someone what makes them happy, they won't know what to say, or they'll double down on the generic answers, which you guys already know what those are by having conversations with your coworkers or your family or your friends when you can feel there's clutter, right? And once you discover what makes you happy, then all you do is add up the costs of that lifestyle, and then you live within that. You live within your means. It doesn't matter if you're up here. You don't have to inflate your life to equal that. That's not gonna make you any happier. Yeah, you can experiment with different things within that gap now that you have the opportunity. And actually, I would encourage you to experiment with, but it doesn't mean you have to permanently inflate your life and then convince your brain that, oh, this is now me. I am now this person who needs all of these things, all these material things to be happy. You don't need that. So side tangent, discover what makes you happy, calculate the cost of what makes you happy, and then live within that cost. And then if it grows naturally, awesome. Or if it gets lower naturally, awesome. But you can be happy with what you have. So that was key. So coming back into it, I learned all about what I want to do with my money and what I don't want to do with my money. My goals remain the same. I didn't want to have a house. I didn't want to have any family. And I didn't want to buy any big pieces of land or property or make any massive trip around the world that would cost me tens of thousands of dollars. I didn't want any of that. I was like, guys, I'm happy. I go to the beach every week. I am outside on the balcony with my neighbors. I do yoga. I am able to I've learned how to cook a lot since retiring. Like, I don't eat out a lot. Like, it's just not a thing anymore. Like, yeah, I'll go out with friends sometimes, but anyways, I'm digressing. So that got me all the way to here, where I'm at now. It's been about 16 months without working. And through that process, I've now realized I want to give back, because to me, it seems kind of counterintuitive to retire and then also, like, again, a whole different episode, but you get bored, right? There's nothing to do. Your brain has to figure out what your purpose in life is. And that was a lot of this whole entire time for me, is figuring out what do I want to do with my life now? You solve for money, but it doesn't mean you're going to be happy. You solve for money, it doesn't solve the rest of the problems. You can fix the way your aesthetic is, you can fix your physique, you can fix the environment around you, all the external things, but at that point you're left with inner work, and inner work is the hardest part. Side tangent, you guys might know someone who is older than us who has solved for money. They have a high-paying job, they have the nice car, but when you talk to them or you're around them, you can feel the clutter, you can feel their energy low, you can feel the emotional availability not there. And that's because the inner work is the hardest part. And so I'm like, hey, I'm 28. I do live a life that I believe is the most fulfilling version at this point. Will I ever want a house or a car or a family? Probably at some point in the future. But right now I'm very fulfilled, but I still want to make the right decisions for myself so that my future self can be like, hey, good job, past self, you did good. But a lot of us get confused with the result and we sacrifice the process. We go through an unfulfilling job, doing unfulfilling work for the sake of money. It works for some of us. Some of us, our brains are really good at jobs like that are high paying. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. If you're not even at a job where you have the income gap. Wow, I should have started with this. Sorry, guys. If you're at a point in life where you're at a job that doesn't even have the income gap available, like your lifestyle's here and you're exactly at that point with your income, or you're lower, you're making less money than your budget and then you're living paycheck to paycheck. I wrote something down here in my journal and it's a lot of squiggly lines just so you guys can see it. A couple things I would do in this scenario. Find a job that aligns with your natural skills. Find a job that aligns with how your brain works. I am not an artist, for example. I do not know how to paint. So trying to get a job in painting wouldn't make sense for me. My brain, it loves communication. Somehow, universal synchronicity, I ended up in sales. And I ended up in tech sales for that matter. So the tech side gave me the lucrative side of it, the financial opportunity. And the sales side gave me the communication side. So I found, universal coincidence, I don't know, a job that connected my natural skill with the opportunity, with the earning potential, essentially. The earning potential was key. And that's why it worked. If you're at a job that you're really good at, but there's no earning potential, you have to reflect on, okay, I'm good at this, but at this team, at this company, I'm not gonna have any earning potential. Am I okay with that? Inversely, you could be at an industry where you have a lot of earning potential, but you're unfulfilled, you're drained every day, and you're stressed. Again, take the time to reflect and be like, am I okay with that? Because I want to tell you guys that it is possible to find a job or create an opportunity for yourself, a process for yourself that matches your natural ability with the lucrative earning potential of whatever is enough for your lifestyle. You don't have to keep sitting in the same path or the same chair that you're in forever, but you have to declutter. It all comes back to decluttering. That is what my coaching is going to be all about. It's all about helping people declutter the surface. Yes, you can go all the way deep down and talk about your darkest parts, but it's like, that's hard. That's hard to open up about, right? With decluttering the surface, the everyday stressors, the everyday anxieties, that is what allows us that little bit of mental space, that little bit of clarity, that little bit of fresh air to feel that sigh of relief. And that little bit of relief helps you operate out of a place of fulfillment, happiness, clarity, and you make better decisions for yourself. So, all the way back. Find a job that aligns with your skills. Also find a job that has an earning potential. If you have one or the other, decide if that's okay with you. If you want both, go for both. Talk to your friends, talk to your managers, talk to your family. Plant seeds of energy, seeds of thought, wherever you really want to be. And if you don't have either, if you're at a job that's unfulfilling, like it's not aligned with your talents, and there's no earning potential, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Segue, call to action for the next 30 days, down the link in the description. I'm doing free consultations, free conversations. If you think that you don't have anyone to talk to about where you're at now, and it's been too long, and you want a new perspective, a fresh perspective, and you think I might be the person to help you declutter that, click the link in my bio. You can book a half an hour with me for free. Energy is what I want to help with. I want to help you guys bridge the spiritual, invisible energy of what you feel and how to bridge that into the practical, the logical, the rational reality of where we're at. If we all learn how to bridge those two things, our intuition and our practicality, we're in a better place. Are our problems solved? All of them? No. But are we closer in the process to finding a fulfilling process, to creating a fulfilling lifestyle? 100%. So click the link down in the description below if you think I might be a good fit for you. If you have a friend or a family member who may be inspired or triggered or stimulated in any way from this, I would urge you to share this video with them. And you never know who it could help. I'm literally just doing this to share my story, to help others. That is literally the only purpose of this whole entire channel. So I hope as I share more, there's more clarity behind the story. Apologies if I miss anything or any details that you guys are asking for. If you have any questions, comment down below. My name is Julian. Have a beautiful day. Peace.